guys. I'm realizing that the quality on my iPad is really not as good as, excuse me, as the iPhone when I had mounted. So bear with me on this post. So some of you may know, let me grab my thingy. So some of you may know that obviously a lot of things have changed in my life the last couple of months. And a huge part of that is because I actually go to a recovery group twice a week. It's called, this is really hard for me to talk about. It's called Celebrate Recovery. And really what it is, well, let me backtrack. I, for the longest time, have been struggling with the finality of having ALS. So, putting a lot of blame on God and just being very angry about the situation. And so I needed answers. It's the only way to put it. I needed answers. And I kept telling myself, like, am I such a bad person? Have I done so many bad things in my life that this is what I get for it? And so the actual program itself is helping me work out some of those issues, whether it be drinking or partying or just a lot of different reasons and things like that. So it's a Christian-based recovery group, and I've been in there for, actually it'll be 6 months this January. So like during the program, it's pretty much like AA, which is fine because that's one of the areas that I struggle with. But not just that. I mean, it could be anything from alcohol to self-esteem issues to codependency to depression, anxiety. It's a bunch of different things. But every once in a while, you have milestones or aha moments when you're in the program where you recognize some part of your area in your life that you need to work on or that you're working through. So I've actually received 2 of these, which are pretty big deals. So I guess at the end of this month, I'll get my 6th month chip, which is a really big deal. I keep forgetting to go up there for like 30 days, 90 days, stuff like that. So I'm just going to go straight to 6 months. But during that program, you start to think about different things that you've done in your life. And what would you have told yourself, like your, growing up self? What would you have told yourself to prepare yourself for the future? So, because there's a lot of things that I think a lot of people regret and they wish they didn't do, or relationships that they shouldn't have been in, or they were with a boyfriend or girlfriend that was just toxic, or maybe you had an addiction or something like that that you were trying to work through. So I made up my own list. It's only 10, so I'm going to spare you this, but I have my notes right here because I wanted to help myself. But I guess just for a few words of advice for my past self looking at my future self, if that makes sense. I guess number 1 would be that your red hair is a blessing, and it's not a curse. And then when you get older, people are going to want it badly. So cherish it, and also make friends with mousse and hairspray and a diffuser as soon as possible. And don't cut your hair before your wedding. That wasn't a smart move. And you, aside from like this length, you never looked good with short hair, so just don't do it. Number two, it's not important to fit in as it is important to stand out. So think for yourself, because you allowed too many people to sway you and dictate you in the things that you do in your life. So you were meant to be a leader and not a follower. Number three is actually stick to something, whether it's sports or hobbies or task or school or music or anything. Just stick with something. It doesn't mean you need to stick with it long term, but hang in there. Don't give up, because you tend to give up a lot. So number four is embrace God instead of fearing the unknown. You're going to need Him when you go through some tough times, and there's going to be a lot of tough times, but never more so than what you experienced in 2016. This is a good one. Number five is never let a man dictate your worth. Sex is not a weapon, but a sacred bond between two people. Have respect for your body instead of your desires to be needed. You are not a codependent person, and you shouldn't be, because you're your own person. You need to stand up for yourself and not let the crowd dictate how you interact with people. So anyway, a huge one, number six, trust your gut on everything. And also listen to your mother about everything. More than likely, she is right. If a person seems like they're danger and sets off warning bells, run. As wonderful and majestic as that person is, run. And not just run, but do not pass go. Do not collect $100 go. But adversely, stay away from the sweet talkers and believe the ones who tell you that they love you. There's a reason why they're telling you that they love you, because they genuinely care about you. And that can be anywhere from family, friends, boyfriends, anything like that. Usually those are the kind of people you actually need to keep in your life. I think you took for granted a lot of people that came into your life just because you wanted to live in the fast lane all the time. So just trust your gut. It's gonna hurt like hell to trust your gut, but just do it. Trust me. Number 7, my husband's gonna love this one. Admit that you can be wrong once in a while. Some fights, you just need to let it go. It's not worth it. Especially the woman that you're going to meet in a club who spills a drink on you. The fight wasn't worth it. So watch your mouth, because you're a redhead and you're a spitfire, and you zip it. Just walk away. But speaking of which, number 8 is do not take off your shoes and try to walk home barefoot in the freezing cold coming home from a fraternity party at Radford. You will get stopped. You will get interrogated. You will get threatened. You will be threatened with a ticket. And your smart mouth will threaten to get you thrown in jail. So shut it. I guess with that said too, number 9 is lay off the alcohol. Nothing good is going to come out of it. You made several careless, reckless, and dangerous decisions while intoxicated. And also never get in a car or drive when you or the person is intoxicated. It's a recipe for disaster, and you almost got yourself killed a couple times. So, just moderation, baby, because you're going to do it, but just watch yourself. Also, to be honest, you don't need alcohol to have a good time. People love you just the way that you are because you act a majority of the time the same way you do when you were drunk. Let's be honest. So I guess that brings me to number 10, the most important one. You're going to fall in love several times. More times than your heart thinks it can bear. But there's going to be a time when the only person that matters is the one that you marry. He's going to be your savior. Aside from God, he's going to be your savior. He's the only one that's going to matter, and you're going to need him because he's very much a rock for you in times when things are good and when times are bad. You're going to go through a bunch of rocky places with him, but stick it out. It's worth it. And there's going to be a lot of times ahead of you that are going to be rough. And you're going to need your best friend in your support system. And for the love of God, do not introduce yourself to him by throwing him up against the bathroom wall and kissing him. That's not a great introduction, but a great story. But it's not how you should have introduced yourself. Thank God he actually called you. Because that could have turned out pretty bad. Anyway, those are just 10 things that I would have told my past self about my future. But, if you actually think about it, all those things that you go through growing up are things that make you who you are today. So, even though I say not to do these things or watch yourself and whatnot, it made you into the person that you are today, which is strong, confident, worthy. So stick it out, kiddo. You're gonna be fine. It's not gonna feel like you're gonna be fine, but you're gonna be fine. All right. Have fun in the future. All right. Bye.